Well, we've been joking all year that Watford haven't sacked a manager yet, but crazily, here we are again. Rumours flying around that Tom Cleverley might be in trouble. We're going to talk to Aaron, Rio, and Luke about that and the unfairness of it all. Support our Tom. We'll talk about Kayembe frustrations. AI is going to predict Watford's rest of the home games. How many points does it give us? Does it get us to 50 points? Because we might need it at this rate. And we're also asking for your worst ever Watford 11, starting with goalkeepers, and you're not allowed to say backmen. Let's get straight into some discussions. Welcome back. Thank you for all the love on the channel that we've had. Massive views last week, so thank you all very much for that. But I cannot believe, Aaron, that we're starting with this topic today. Before we do so, that I just want to highlight, as many of you have, Graham Taylor's 8th anniversary of his passing this week, and Nick right there with the famous statue. So obviously all our blessings go to the remembrance of a very fine man, and for one very fine manager to another. What's going on, Aaron?
I have no idea where this has all come from, but it sort of started with the sudden appearance of a Tom Cleverley social media post, which are few and far between. They don't really happen. Basically praising our support at Fulham and sort of willing and asking for the fans' support in the coming weeks. And then that was then followed by a similar post by Robbo, where he also gave his condolences and memories about JT. But it's bewildering, really. And I think it's just indicative of the recent years supporting Watford Football Club. Even if these rumours aren't substantial and have come from nothing, the fact that there's been such a response about it on social media just shows you what Watford fans have come to expect. I mean, the fact that we have a manager who has, by all accounts, you can look back at all the videos we've done, has overachieved, even if our recent form isn't good. He has overachieved the squad this season so far. And the mere notion that he could be under any pressure is bonkers to me. And I think, as you can see, a lot of Watford fans would agree with that.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, do not scratch your eyes. Podcast. I mean, know their stuff, don't they? So shout out to them. Rio, you host your own spaces, of course you do. And I was amazed to see how many Watford spaces were open on a Sunday night. I was like, there's not been there's not been a game either. What's your take on it all?
Yeah, there was like 250 listeners on that. But I mean, 3 weeks ago, we didn't have a podcast then because it was the Christmas break. But less than 3 weeks ago, we just beat Portsmouth, last minute winner. We were 6th in the league, 17 home games unbeaten. Everyone was praising the job Cleverley has done, saying he's the best manager in the league. And ultimately, yes, we have lost 4 in a row. The dip was always going to come eventually. I've said how it's happened the last few seasons and probably should expect it again, because ultimately spent the 4th lowest in the Championship in the summer, and you've got a midfield of Moussa Sissoko and Tom Ince playing against QPR, which was the 5th oldest midfield of all time at the age of 68, and you've got injuries to our goalkeeper Batman, Jefferson, who was supposed to be our main striker, not firing on all cylinders. He's been simply overachieving, and of course, when you do lose 4 in a row as a Watford manager, you are going to come under a bit of pressure, and we've got 2 away games coming up in the next few days, and we know our away record this season, so could potentially be 6 defeats in a row. But I think it would be ludicrous to sack Cleverley unless we're in serious danger of relegation in the last month or 2 of the season. And even if we were in serious danger of relegation and they're sacking Cleverley, I'd still argue Cleverley's case. He hasn't been backed at all, and a rookie manager, and yeah, that's what I've got to say.
Yeah, I mean, it's good to see Jefferson score, wasn't it, though, for Bournemouth? It's always going to happen. Luke, some podcasts have suggested that Sean Dyche sacking might have something to do with this, and that potentially he's going to make a heroic return.
Honestly couldn't think of anything worse. But I think this whole stuff around the I literally was out for a few hours yesterday afternoon. I just checked my phone and I was like, what is going on? I just saw this back Tom stuff, and I find our fan base quite reactive to a lot of things I think we're quite reactive in terms of game to game. Even like the atmosphere at Watford as well. You know, when we was winning the home games, everyone was like, Cleverley's great. And then when we lost that first game at home after, you know, that great run we had, there was some fans booing. And I think there's that some it's always been like this at Watford. I think which is different to a lot of clubs. We're very reactive and a lot of fans will snap and go, right, this is the problem. Like this whole back Tom thing is kind of just came out of nowhere, and it's a mix of the, you know, backing Tom actually money wise. I mean, there's also this, oh, is he getting sacked? And at the end of the day, it is the 13th of Jan. If you look at all our business in the last sort of few years, especially in Jan, we tend to sort of we come into the sort of party a bit late. And you know, I think I said on Twitter earlier, so if it's the 29th of January, I would get everyone's sort of problem around it. But there's no way Cleverley's going to get sacked. He's one of the, if not one of the best managers in the whole championship. He's done remarkable things, and like Aaron said earlier, if you looked at our start of the season prediction, look at where we are now. We're in dreamland compared to what we're thinking. I think it's just some what fans been very reactive, and it's not going to actually help our Jan window. You know, there was fans on Twitter earlier sending emails to the club on their Sunday evening saying, "Gino, please sign someone." At the end of the day, he's going to look at signing someone. We'll probably will sign someone. It's not going to be millions of pounds spent, but I think we just got to be patient. And it's just annoying that all fans are reacting like this, because Cleverley's doing really well, and it's going to put more pressure on him with the board with all this back Tom stuff as well. I feel quite sorry for him really, but I'm pleased with, and I think we all are pleased with how he's doing a great job.
Yeah, absolutely. Well said, all of you. And as a neutral, crikey, do not sack Tom Cleverley. That'd be the most ridiculous sacking of all time. And although we're lucky that we've got three of the most chilled Watford fans helping us out to review here. You can help us out, though. Help us to get to our target 100. We're getting there. We are getting there. You'll see us leap off the seat when we hit it. So please help us. Drop us a subscribe if you haven't yet done so. From the sublime then to the ridiculous, and I mean that in all good intentions when we talk about Kayembe. Aaron, let's have a look at some of the more polite tweets that came following the Fulham performance. Hi, admin. Please never make us look at Kayembe in a Watford shirt again. Paul says the fact that Kayembe has played nearly 100 games for Watford is mind-boggling. I've never seen him get out of second gear. He's 26 going on 36. We've got to replace in the summer. He's getting worse, not better. At the risk of Groundhog Day, Aaron, are they right?
Absolutely. I genuinely don't know how he keeps being started. Well, actually, no, I do, and it's because we have a severe lack of decent central midfielders. But yeah, the guy can't use his right foot. He watches the ball for most of the game. When he does have possession, his range of pass can't probably go beyond 10 yards. His only asset to the team really comes with the fact he can strike a pretty good ball at goal. And that is where his usefulness in the team recently has started and ended, because I think he's probably the worst performing player to still get picked most weeks at the moment. I'd say he's worse than Sissoko.
Okay. Rio, do you agree with Aaron's sentiment?
Funny thing is, we signed Kayembe in the Premier League, and he's not even good enough for the division below. And when Tom came in last March or April, he was playing some of the best football of his career. He was scoring quite a few goals, actually, and even at the start of this season. But yeah, I'd say Kayembe has been terrible. But if you look at the options to replace him, you've got Moussa Sissoko coming off the bench. No, thank you. Tuomo's now injured, promising young talent for next 2-3 months. And Tom Delhi's coming back. So hopefully that means Kayembe might be on the bench for the foreseeable future.
Okay. Let's talk about money, though, because we are nearly halfway through the month, Luke, and predictions have been made that not much will be spent. First of all, thank you for last week on our video last week, Watford FC 1881. Thank you for this, but we're not going to spend a penny on transfers, Udinese loans. It is Gino would rather balance the books and show profit for any incoming buyout. Brenner da Silva, the only incoming on loan from Udinese. I'll be there Thursday. Thank you very much for that one. This one says, I'm just grateful that we've got 37 points. Last season, we needed 51 to guarantee safely. So that means we only need 14 points from now till May, because we have Super Tom Cleverley, who is massively up against it. In his first high role, I'm expecting £0 to be spent. Luke, how much do you think is actually going to be spent?
You know,
this month?
there's got to be something, because I will be really frustrated. Like I said, it's still early days, but with how well we've been doing this season, it's sort of one of those things I thought that, you know, sort of Cleverly will be like, well, what else do I need to do? I'm doing well with this team. certain reasons why we've had players missing out. We've had Tom Delly. We've been playing Kayembe near enough every week, who's just not at the level. We've got a lot of players that we need to, or positions that we need to fill up, and we just haven't got it yet. It is going to be frustrating if we don't sign anyone to help with that, because at the end of the day, there's nothing we can do about it at all. Well, Cleverley can't if no one else is brought in, and he's been doing a terrific job. But I do really think, and I hope that we will at least get a loan in, like a loan that we can put in the first team, and not some striker who's 17 years old who's not going to ever play, but it's just there on the books. We really need like a good loan deal, a smart move, just something. Honestly, just anything which is going to be a player I'm going to expect to see in the first team week in, week out. I think is what we just want to see, because if you look at our last sort of transfer windows on paper, it's not been great. I saw a stat as well. There's like a photo from the Premier League. It was like our 3 midfielders we played that day were exact same as the ones we played in there. And you go, well, like Rio said, well, he was in the Premier League then, but Kayembe is nowhere near Championship level, and he was playing the Premier League in that same midfield that we still have 3 seasons on. It is ridiculous, and it just shows that there's not been a move on in terms of recruitment. But let's hope that we at least get something in Jan.
Yeah, I saw someone say Sissoko's our worst midfield signing since we last signed Sissoko. So
Yeah.
it says it all.
But out the FA Cup you go. I'm not surprised that you're not particularly too bothered about that, Aaron. Are you at all? I mean, focus on the league now. Would you have been bothered about going to Mansfield or Wigan?
No, I mean, I would have liked to have gone to Mansfield because I've not been there before for a game. I mean, I don't know much about the place, but it would have been a ground to tick off. But am I bothered about being out of the cup? No. Did I expect to get anything for them? No. I actually thought, pre-60th minute, we didn't actually put a bad performance in, apart from Kayembe and Thomas. I thought we were always going to sit on the back foot. We were always going to have some pressure on us. But every time we did sort of have a break on, we looked like we could do something. And, I mean, we got back in the game through close to goal of the round before Wildfire scored that ridiculous one against QPR. I mean, yeah, do you know what? It wasn't a bad day out. I think our fans had a good time. Took a good lot.
Yeah, absolutely. And credit to the 4,000 or 4,000 whatever it was that turned up and at on a Thursday night, as ridiculous as it was. Back to the Championship we go then. Derby County are awaiting your visit this weekend. Let's remind ourselves of what happened the last time you two met back in August. I think it was match day 3 or match day 4, something like that. It was a victory. Bayo and Sissoko getting the goals. Abu Adams actually put them ahead. Then we spoke to our Derby fans this week, Rio, and they said Tom Ince is definitely going to score against us because that always happens for Derby. I doubt he's probably going to start though, is he? Have a look at that. Have a Watford side. Have a look at the Watford side. Sorry, that we've just shown on the screen there. I took it down too quickly there. How is this Watford side different to the one that's going to turn up on Saturday? Stating the obvious.
Yeah, obviously that team was only 3rd game week of the season, and Bar hadn't emerged until mid-September then, so obviously Bar's going to start, probably instead of Kayembe, and we're playing the 3 at the back there. Sometimes we mix it up, but I don't think it's too dissimilar to what it would be now, to be honest, because obviously Morris is starting there, but there's rumours Porteous might be off to Hull, so maybe a return for Morris. But I think O'Connor might be starting, so he'd probably come in for Sierralta, and hopefully Tom Delly is fit enough to start by then.
Okay. We've asked AI to predict the rest of all your home games, Luke. Let's have a quick look at that and see what you think. I mean, in terms of your home games, apart from Leeds and Burnley towards the end of the season, you've not got a really bad run in here. If you look at all the positions you've got to play, you've got Plymouth, Luton, Millwall, Swansea, Hull, all in a nice little block there from March onwards. So, I mean, you could really push on if you can get back to that with those winning rays. What do you reckon? 23 points, AI reckons. Would you take that now?
Yeah, I'd happily take 23. We haven't lost there. Look at that. That's great.
Right,
yeah, as long as we beat Luton, the AI's got that right. But no, I feel pretty confident around the sort of that sort of end sort of run where we've got Plymouth, Hull. It's just when we play the the tougher teams. I think Luton's a very hard fixture. You know, you look at the league position and think, yeah, that's all right, but it's always going to be tough against Luton. And the fact Edwards has gone now, they might have a a little purple patch when they play us, and that will be a bit concerning. But I do fancy us to have a good second half run. We tend to do well. We have done really well at home, and that will be at the end of the day our be or end all for the whole season, because I just can't see our way form picking up at all. So let's hope AI is correct there, because that could be flirting with playoffs there, definitely. Or even made it, yeah.
Yeah, you'd be well over 50 points and well safe, wouldn't we? All right, let us know what you think in the comments. Finally, then, this week, having a bit of fun, because January's so rubbish. So we thought we'd magnify that and look at the worst ever Watford 11 from Championship era plus Premier League, because you've obviously been in the Premier League for some of those years as well. So 20 years we're looking back, and we're starting with the worst goalkeeper between the sticks. Next week, be here, because we're going to play a flat 4-4-2. And we want the 2 worst strikers you've ever seen in a Watford shirt. So that might be a little bit easier than this one.
There's a few.
I've got mine already for that one.
Yeah, that's so easy.
Come back for that next week. Okay, Aaron, who are you going to put in the sticks of this worst ever Watford side?
Look, do you know what? It's not Daniel Bachmann. I know a lot of people want to say that, but he isn't. He's definitely not had the best time as Watford's number 1, but I don't think it'd be fair to say he's the worst. The worst goalkeeper for me in that time watching, I would say, I'm not going to say, I know a lot of people would also say Jack Bonham for that one game, but I think that's a bit harsh given that one game. So I'm going to say Costil Pantilimon. He was Hilario Gomez's backup in our first season in the Premier League. And I think he probably played about 7 games in the end, but he was just absolutely woeful. And I still won't forgive him, because in my opinion, he ruined the FA Cup semi-final against Palace, letting that header in at the near post.
Okay, good shout, Luke.
You know, I was probably going to say Jack Bonham, because if you go off performances, I know he only played 1 game, and it was against Leeds, as I remember rightly. Yeah, at home, and it was the worst performance ever. So if you went off, if that was his only game he played for us, and if he ever done that again, it would be continuous. But I really do not like Ben Foster, especially his sort of last season and that lockdown when he was doing the cycling GK stuff. You sort of knew he was going to retire. Like, Ben Foster's a great keeper throughout most of his career, but those last 2 years he was just having a laugh towards the end, and it was really frustrating. I remember there was one game he was terrible at Huddersfield away, and he done his cycling GK videos like, that's football at the end of the day, and it was basically his fault that we dropped points. And it was just really frustrating watching him those last 2 seasons. That might be more just a bit of a personal sort of I didn't really like him towards the end. He's probably not a bad goalkeeper at the end, but one goalkeeper I'd not want to see each week is Ben Foster, especially with his sodding GoPro as well. But yeah, Jack Bonham definitely for worst in terms of each week.
All right, Rio, you get to settle this then.
Yeah, Luke's got a good point about Foster. He's letting away fans into the home end as well. But I am, because Jack Bonham is a good shout, but I think my first season Sporting was like the season after or something. But I am going to go Dan Batman, purely based on, by the end of his contract, he would have been there 11 years, which is the same as Troy Deeney. And just the fact he got that 5-year new deal and was captain. But yeah, my memory's short.
He'll get a testimonial then.
Probably.
You probably will, won't he?
No, we'll be there.
That would be something.
I hope you'll all be there. All right. Listen, I hope we aren't calling an emergency podcast this week for news of that we don't want to talk about. So fingers crossed for that. Enjoy your game against Derby. We'll be reviewing that, of course, this time next week. So join us for that. Don't forget, if you haven't yet subscribed, please do so. With 300 people watching stuff, that's amazing. Please just hit that subscribe button. That would mean the world to us. Have a good week, everyone. Enjoy your football, and back our time.